ब्रह्मविदा आप्नोति परम् तदेषाभ्युक्ता सज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सः सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् ब्रह्मणा विपश्चितेति ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. The knower of Brahman gains the ultimate. That is the, what is the word for it? That is the translation of the first line. Brahmavid apnoti param. So the knower of Brahman, if the knower of Brahman gains the ultimate, then this Brahman must be a very special thing. Yeah. Because anything that you gain in time and space is what? Non-ultimate. Time bound, space bound, no? And eminently finite. So whatever is gained in time is lost where? In time. Whatever is gained in a particular space is also lost in time and space. What is gained in time is lost in time. Therefore, what we have to understand is that this Brahman that we are talking about gaining is a has to be a very special thing. Has to be an extremely special thing. Why? Because gaining that alone, I gain the ultimate. Otherwise, everything that I gain leaves me wanting. I want this. Yes, I got this. Now what? Now it is simple. I want something else. After that, I want something else. And so this much we have seen, that all wants, are endless. Each time you want something else. Now, how do I fulfill this want? Which want? Not the want of the Christmas list, but the want of keeping on wanting. The fact that I am a wanting person, how do I address? And here, the Upanishad, that which is the sacred, the secret knowledge of the Vedas, says very carefully that the knower of Brahman, that it is not in trying to fulfill the wants that you gain the ultimate. You gain the ultimate in knowing Brahman. So knowing Brahman means what? Knowing Brahman, I will fulfill my wants, That way an uncle, so mama, So in knowing the uncle, you will fulfill the wants? No. But so why? Because the difference is that the uncle is also finite in space and in time, whereas Brahman is infinite. So if there is such a thing as infinite, it has to be me alone. We saw that yesterday in great detail. If there is such a thing called the infinite, limitless, it has to be me. How? Because I cannot say, look at this beautiful limitlessness. Just like if I say, look at this lovely full moon. The full moon is finite. That's why I can point. Anything that I know as an object, not me. Pot. Not me? Is this pot me? No, not me. Why? Because I am the one that gave it its name. Pot. Yeah. So this is not me. Pot is not me. And so many things are me. So what is ultimately me? This is something we have to understand. So if everything that is observed is not me, what about the observer? Is there a slight chance that the observer might be me? Okay, now we are talking. The nature of the observer cannot be limited. Why? Because the observer is able to observe far too many things for the what's its name? The epithet of limited to stick. Why? The same observer goes to sleep. The same observer wakes up. After you go to sleep, somebody else doesn't wake up in your place. Oh, what am I doing in this body? You alone go to sleep. You wake up. And then you alone say, I had a dream. You don't say, I dreamt my neighbor's dream. I don't know why I keep on dreaming my neighbor's dream. Your own dream. Your own projection during the waking state. And then again, not only the 3 states of experience, we also look at what? We look at, the photograph of the 5-year-old. Which 5-year-old? You. When you say, this is me, I was 5, if you show me the photo, what will I say? Really? I can't believe this is you. Yes, this is me. Oh, okay. How do you know? Because I have memory. What is that memory? The memory is not when the photograph was taken. One may not have that particular memory. But one has the memory of inhabiting that 5-year-old body which was throwing a tantrum. Yeah. One knows, oh, this was my favorite dress. This was my favorite thing. This is who I used to be. This is who I was. And so, the whole thing, the one that is waking up, going to sleep, the one that is dreaming is a constant, undiluted, unfragmented reality which happens to be me. And this me is self-standing. That also we saw yesterday. No, I need a lot of props to hold me up. What do you mean I'm self-standing? No, really. Think about it. That I am is not left for doubt. Are you here? Yes. Finally. You cannot say I'll check up and let you know. I'll get back to you on that. If I say, are you free to come to the Diwali worship? Then you can say, let me look at my calendar and I'll let you know. Are you here? I don't know. Like that fellow who didn't have all the marbles in one place and catch a bus. Is this bus going to Kumbakonam? I need to go to Kumbakonam. Is this bus going to Kumbakonam? And somebody said, just for fun, you want to go to Kumbakonam? Yes, people in Kumbakonam take you for a ride. This is a town in South India. What did they say? They said, you're already in Kumbakonam. I saw you there just this morning. I'm coming from there, the bus driver said. So the man said, oh, I better get on this bus and catch up with myself then. I better go where I am. That doesn't happen. That I exist doesn't have to be captured by any other reality. You don't go to any governmental agency for a certificate of existence. Yeah, birth certificate different. We are not talking of birth certificate. You don't go somewhere and say, excuse me, yes, this is a bureaucracy. This is all my imagination, okay? So here, this is a bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is what? Waiting. They've had so many requests. They are tired, they are bored, they are underpaid and understaffed and they just want to go home. You go at 3:45 when they are ready to pack up and leave. Where is existence? Just so that to get you out of the hair, they'll say at the next window. You will just be given the runaround. There is no certificate of existence, and in this kind of guarded society where identity is guarded like, you don't know what. There is a card for driving license, there is a card for going to the doctor, there is a card for, all kinds of things. Operating machinery, there is a card for social security, there is an employment card and a card to get you through doors. All kinds of cards are there. But there is no existence card. Birth certificate, yes, but no agency, governmental or otherwise, can give you a certificate of existence. Why? Because you do not need it. Your existence is already established by who? That I exist, I know. Nobody else needs to know. I am the final arbiter when it comes to talking about my existence. Nobody else needs to come from somewhere and say, I think you exist. Oh, really? Thank you very much. Oh, now I can start to live. Yeah. So you don't have to pinch yourself. Oh. It is not a logical thing. I eat, I breathe, everyone breathes, everyone exists, therefore I exist. No! Your existence is not dependent on breathing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If there is no breath, it is called death, okay? It's not called existence. Yeah, it is called death. It's not called life. But we are talking not of death or life. We are talking of existence. Sat. What is. That is what we are talking about. That existence which is not confined to the number of breaths that one comes allotted in a particular lifetime. It's a entirely different thing. It is very mind-boggling. It should be. Because the mind is finite, it should be boggled once in a while to get it going, to keep it working. The boggling of the mind is the oiling of the mind. So it should be oiled, it should be boggled once in a while. Otherwise what happens? Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah. In a sense, that's beyond breath, that is beyond time, that is beyond space. But wait, you are fine until as long as you were talking about this and not needing the certificate of existence. I understand that. But what do you mean beyond time? That's what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. But this existence is so much connected to this body. In fact, it is not separate from the body. It is separate from the body. How? What is this? A pot. What does the pot rest on? Clay. The truth of the pot is clay. So the truth of the body, mind, sense complex is that which makes it alive. So the cells, no, that which makes the cells alive. So the blood, that which makes the blood even alive. So the breath, that which observes the breathing. Who is the one who can observe the breathing? Who is the one who says, I think I'm hyperventilating, I need to calm down? You. That you is more than even the prana, the life force. That is what we are talking about. Not the you that is identified with the body, mind, sense complex, because body, mind, sense complex one has to be identified with. Thank God one has a body. Thank God one has a mind. Really. Whether one has a body or not, thank God one has a mind. Otherwise, how will this knowledge take place? If everybody was just kind of existence, in the air. How is this knowledge? Well, for this knowledge to flow, one needs a vehicle for all kinds of transactions, and therefore, this is how the whole thing is. The setup is that. In and through the body, mind, sense complex that I call me, there is something that is untouched by air at all. And that existence, yesterday we started to talk about Sat. That is Sat. Sat is, when I say pot is, forget the name pot, forget the form of the pot, that it has this flower pot shape, forget the shape, forget the form, forget the name. When I say pot is, the is, does it belong to the pot? No. The is doesn't belong to the pot. In the sentence pot is. This is very funny. Why? Because, you can throw the pot. What happens when you throw the pot? What does it become? Crackpot. Yeah. You throw the pot, then you have crackpot. So really, then you say what? Pot is not. Rather, the absence of the pot is. The is never changes. It's is. Do I have a pot in my hand? No. How do you know? because the pot that is in your head is not being seen in the palm of my hand. In the palm of my hand, the absence of the pot exists. Yeah. So that existence, it can never be denied. No, I don't want this existence to be there. Can we please take it away? It's not like using a stain remover, some bleach stick you put on the clothes and throw it in the washing machine and the stain goes away. No. This existence is like a guest that doesn't know when to leave. This existence parks itself. It was always there, first of all. It will continue to be there. Never a time there was. In fact, there was no time at all. But just for the sake of talking, never a time it wasn't. Never a time it isn't. Never a time that it will not be. Oh, now what to do? Yeah. Never a time it will not be. So that means what? It is beyond time. Yeah, like a guest who comes and doesn't go away. In India, this happens all the time, People come and it is rude to ask. Here, before they come, you ask. So, how long are you planning to visit? Yeah, before itself, it is, when are you leaving? When are you coming? Send me. And you know how long the person is staying before itself. So then you can prepare mentally, okay? That this person is going to be in your life. But in India, they never came by plane. Maybe now, in the olden days, train. They would arrive. And as soon as they arrive, it's really rude to ask. So when are you leaving? What do you mean? You don't love me? I've just arrived and you're saying, when are you leaving? How horrible. Okay, so then you just talk of some conversations, some, inane banalities are exchanged and, somehow the host, after 2 or 3 days, if the topic of leaving doesn't come, or 2 or 3 weeks sometimes, depends on which time period we are talking about, the host tries to maneuver the conversation, to departure. It might take this kind of a look. Well, it's so difficult to get. First of all, you have to find out whether the person holds a return ticket or not. Return means what? Round trip. Yeah, that first has to be figured out, because if they don't have a ticket, there's a 2-month waiting period for the ticket. So the host feels that it is his or her duty to inform the guest that in this town there is a 2-month waiting period for tickets to where you are going. So somehow you can, maneuver the conversation. These days it's so hard to get tickets for trains. And this guest is a very clever guest. Yeah, yes, I've heard that. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's okay. That is how life is. The guest has a philosophical bent of mind. Live in the now. Don't worry about the tomorrow. The host is worried about the tomorrow because the whole life is, 15 people living in one house and the whole lifestyle is uprooted and disrupted and, plus, you have to take the person around and all these. There are protocols in India about the whole guest. Guest is very highly regarded. Guest means atithi. Titihi na vidyate yasya. The one who doesn't give the arrival date, that is called guest. Tithi means date of arrival. You can also take it as date of departure, as we are seeing in this example. But really, atithi means the one without a date. It's not like here that you make a dinner date, 8 weeks from now I'll come to your house to eat dinner. No, you just drop in. That is how it is. That is atithi. And that atithi is to be seen as an incarnation of Ishvara, incarnation of God. Oh my God, yeah, exactly. So, so this atithi has to be seen as an incarnation of God. In the same Upanishad that we are studying, it says, Atithi Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava, may you be the one for whom the guest is an incarnation of God. Yeah. So the host has to do a little cosmic dance. So the first ploy has not worked. What? Oh, it's so difficult to get tickets these days. Yes, yeah, I'm not worried about that. Okay, that one has not worked. So How is your job going? Because the job is in the other town where the person lives. Oh, very well, thank you, it's wonderful. Oh, so you must be having a good time taking off. You must be really needing this time off. Yes, I've really had a very hectic time. It's so wonderful to visit you and be with you. No clue about again departure. So when did you say you had to rejoin your job? How long, when did you say your vacation was ending? Oh, I didn't say anything about my vacation ending. So the person is stuck because you cannot go over the codes of, the decorum. But yet you have to elicit a response. Yeah. So and then after a few weeks you start to get a little more, brazen. And then you say, so would you like me to make your return reservation? No, thank you very much for the offer. I've already have my return reservation. Or not even that. Oh, thank you very much for the offer. Because if he says I already have, that means then you can ask. That leaves room for you to ask. When are you leaving? So here this is all, the whole conversation is conducted in code. Yeah. The whole conversation is conducted in code until what? The host has a spiritual epiphany, really regards the presence of the guest as Ishvara and stops worrying about when he is going to, and he and his 7 kids and wife are going to leave. Stops really worrying about that, transcends that as it were, gets instant lesson, gets an instant shot in the arm of dispassion, vairagya. Oh, whether they are there or not, I'm going to lead my life, I'm going to be how I am. So then everything is okay. So is this Sat? See, this is what we were talking about, Sat. So is this Sat like an unwanted guest? A mysterious guest that you keep looking for? That when are they leaving? When are they leaving? When are they leaving? How do I find out when are they leaving? So that what? So when they leave, I can live. You see? This Sat is not like that. Why? Because it is extremely benign. This Sat that we are talking about, which Sat? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. This Sat is a benign Sat. It doesn't interfere in your daily life. It doesn't say, take me to see the sights. Why? Because all the sights exist because it exists. It upholds the sights and the sounds and the scenery and even you. Even you means this body, mind, sense complex. So this Sat is a very quiet guest. Doesn't take things from the refrigerator without asking. Doesn't eat too much. Doesn't eat at all, and doesn't, what should I say, turn the TV on too loud. Does not, come in the middle of a family conversation and say, you're having a fight? Oh, what's this fight about? Can I help? In fact, you don't even know this Sat guest is there. You don't even know it is there. Why? And that's unfortunate because that's why we are taking this class, so that we know what this Sat is. The problem is because we don't know. This Sat is there, we do not know, and that's what creates the problem. And if you look deeply into the nature and the credential of this guest called Sat, you find that the table is turned. You are the guest. Your body, mind, sense complex is the guest. The Sat is the host that is hosting. Yeah, web hosting. Web hosting this entire network of beings. Things that move, things that don't move. This Sat is what is lending its existence, without any kind of subprime lending agreement. It doesn't say I'll charge you 5% interest. Why? Because I'm allowing you to say that you are alive. Everyone, is what? Making gross Sat copyright violation, intellectual property right violation. But this Sat is such a good Sat that it will not put a suit. Yeah, it will not put a legal suit. Why won't it put a legal suit? Because it knows it alone is. Everything else comes and goes, let it come and go. Some more noises, it doesn't matter. Few more noises, few more things that come and go. Who is counting? Really? When all there is this one, Sat, indivisible and completely whole, which cannot be fragmented, which always was, always is, always will be. Is that Sat guest or host? Tell me.
Host.
Host. Yeah. Guest comes and goes. So now who is the guest? Oh. This is kind of getting into murky waters. If Sat is the host, that is not just hosting this, what is this body, mind, sense complex and keeping it alive. If Sat is not the guest but the host, then what is this body, mind, sense complex? Guest. The body is the guest of this Sat. See how the whole tables are turned? Yeah, this is Indian magic. Yeah, without making anything, without even having anything in the hand, you can make things disappear and you can make things upside down and you can just completely this thing it. Yeah, this is the Indian magic. So, now we know the correct credentials of the guest turned host. What is its name? Sat. Yeah. You know the correct credentials. What is it now? It's a host. It's not at all that which comes and goes. So if it is not at all that which comes and goes, what does it do all day? It just is. Oh, it doesn't have a job? No. It just is. So it must be very rich. Yes. Why? Because it can lend its existence to everything that wants to call itself existent. Table is. The is belongs to Sat. Table belongs to the name and the form of that shape in which the Sat is coming out as. Yeah. Wait. Now you are confusing me. Up till now I was with you. Now something else. You keep throwing in new things, very quietly. You shouldn't do that. I was fine with this guest host business. Now then you said, okay, what does he do? This Sat, it just lends the existence. Okay, somehow I bent my mind around that also. Like mortgage broker, it lends some money, the mortgage broker. So the Sat also lends its existence. Okay, I got around it. Then you started to talk about table. When you said table is, the isness of the table. Now you see, even in explaining this, you brought another word, isness. Please just talk English, okay? The existence of the table is what? Is nothing but Sat. So now you have confusing me completely because you're saying that there is no guest. It's all host, all the way. There is no guest. Yes, that's what I'm saying. No guest at all. What guest? Table is means what? Table is in brackets Sat. Sat is, therefore table is. Table, the name and form vanishes. The guest, the name and form can be the guest, so to speak. Name and form vanishes or name and form is subsumed. The name and form is sublated. The name and form is swallowed up for breakfast, lunch and dinner. What is left? Sat. Sat is the leftover. Not the leftover, the main thing really. Yeah. So you take away, when I say table is, what am I saying? Sat is. Yeah, but the table is separate. Table is not separate from Sat. Because Sat alone is. This Sat, which is the host of this huge mansion. What is the mansion? Jagat. Jagat mansion. Jagat means this universe, and I don't like to use the term universe because I can always say that universe over there. But here what I'm saying is that Jagat, the word Jagat means the universe including my body, mind, sense complex. Yeah. So Jagat includes me, this body, mind, sense complex, it includes. So this Jagat, is the mansion in which the Sat manifests itself as. The Sat upholds the whole Jagat, the Sat upholds the mansion and the people living in it, including the creepy crawlies, cockroaches, octopuses, starfish, land animals, whales, everything is just this non-dual one Sat alone is upholding. The shapes may vary, the shapes may come and go, Sat alone is. I am, meaning this body is because Sat is. If supposing the Sat says, you know what, I am not lending you my existence anymore, then that thing will stop existing. But really, the Sat cannot say that, because everywhere you go, whatever you see, whatever you interact with is Sat, 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 Sat alone. There is nothing other than Sat. Yeah. You always begin with two, guest and host, Sat and Asat, whatever you want. And then what? You have Asat for breakfast. Asat means non-Sat. So, the host has eaten the guest for breakfast. That's all. How? Because in the wake of the knowledge that all there is that which is upholding this. Yeah. This is the whole kind of the thing. This is what, when you say pot is, what do you really mean to say? Clay is. Yeah. Clay. Because everything depends upon this Sat for existence. Meaning what? If everything depends on Sat for its existence, it means that without Sat, there is nothing else. Everything is a projection of Sat. If you have a lump of clay that is fashioned into what? A pot like this one, which we just talked about, which I just showed you, or it could be fashioned into a figurine, it could be fashioned into many items of clay. A lid, another kind of a funny looking pot, modern art. Only the artist knows what it is. Nobody else knows. You think it's a mound of clay, but actually it is, Jupiter seen from the earth. Only the artist knows. So all these things, if you want to know the clay world, what do you need to know? What do you need to understand? The clay. You don't need to go and do research on pot number 1. What are you doing? I am doing PhD. On what? On pots. So pot number 1, PhD. How does it look like? The pot number 1 PhD. Oh, it is round, it is this shape and this is measurement and it has so much clay. Pot number 2, PhD. Pot number 3. You don't need to study each and every pot. All you need to do is know the clay. And if you know the clay, in one fell swoop, you know the whole pot. You know the whole pot. If you know the clay, you know the pot. You know the figurine, you know the lid, you know everything. And if you don't know the clay, you will forever be wondering, what is this? Yeah. Oh, I'm really attached to this. I want to marry this, Why? Because this thing appears as a discrete thing in time, in space. And everything seems discrete, and I want to have a relationship with each and everything because I do not know that which inheres each and everything is the same. In fact, it is only one, non-dual. It is nothing but Sat. The name Sat means is. That's all. It means existence. So all existence is borrowed from which thing alone exists without any props, any conditions, any preconditions, any kind of, limitations. There is only one thing that one is in touch with. What is that thing? There's only one thing that exists without leaning on anything else, without preconditions, without, trying to negotiate its existence based on something else, without going away, without coming back, there is only one thing that exists. What is that thing?
Sat.
You. Sat. You. That Sat is you. Yeah. Because as long as that Sat is outside of you, you become what? Inconstant. Always afraid, I'll go away, something will happen, somebody will come and get me. Because if there's two things, one thing can come and get the other thing. Okay? Yeah. The same Upanishad will say later, Udaram antarang kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. If somebody asks, what is the origin of fear? The Upanishad gives only one line. The one who makes even a razor bit of difference between oneself and the rest of the world or anything else comes under the grip of fear. Why? Because as soon as you demarcate yourself from something else, whatever is not you can become bigger than you, can be a source of threat. Yeah. So therefore, even to get over the fear, even to have that fearlessness, one needs Vedanta. Without Vedanta, there cannot be any fearlessness. You can go to a workshop and, get hypnotized maybe. That's all you can do. Yeah. Nothing more is available. Only Vedanta can give fearlessness. How? By removing the fear? No. Why? Because I am afraid of grasshopper, I am afraid of cockroach, I am afraid of snake, I am afraid of you, I am afraid of me. Well, how many things are you going to remove? Not by removing the fear for fearful things, but by removing the cause of fear. What is the cause of fear? The cause of fear is that separation. That's why it is called separation anxiety. In psychology, that's the first fear that the baby gets when the mother, not so much the father in the formative this thing, because the baby is in the mother's stomach, the baby is connected to the mother, literally. And so when the baby comes out and is supposed to lead this independent existence, the mother is not always with the child. The mother has to go to work, the mother has to eat, the mother has to drink, the mother has to go to another room to get something. Baby doesn't understand all that. If in its consciousness it has not seen the mother for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever, it will cry. It will cry. Yeah. It will really cry. Why will it cry? Because it hasn't seen the mother in its consciousness. If the mother is outside of his consciousness, which means what? The mother is other than me, and it doesn't think the mother is other than me. It thinks the mother is me. It doesn't have that thing. Then it realizes the mother is not me, because why? She is walking, talking, I am lying here helplessly, I can't even flip over and I am supposed to be independent. Yeah, I have the same cry, whether I have colitis, whether I am hungry, or whether I need a nappy change. Yeah, and the mother, being the first time mother, doesn't get it. What are you going to do? Yeah, mother always has to do guesswork. Is the baby hungry? Oh, no, it can't be. I just fed it. Is the nappy clean? Oh, yeah, I just changed. Okay, maybe it is having stomachache. By Parishesha Nyaya, the logic of residue, whatever is left over must be this. That is how somehow everybody gets, becomes a big adult. But the separation anxiety which starts as soon as the umbilical cord is cut, that is what is that fear? It is called prana bhaya, the fear of life itself. And that fear is what? Because I am separate from everything else, and that causes anxiety. I am separate from, everything that can come attack me. So you have all these creepy crawlies that I aforelisted creepy crawlies. Then you have other big things. Then you have the stock market. Anything that is bigger than you causes separation, anxiety, causes fear. So what does Vedanta do? Through the teaching, it removes the cause for the fear. By how? By showing in a demonstrable way, in a way that you can understand, it shows that there is nothing other than you. That Sat that we have spent so much time talking about is who? You. You who? That's who it is. Yeah. That Sat is you alone. It is nothing else. It is nothing other than you. Because there's only one thing that does not rely on anything else. My own existence, yeah. Nobody has to say, hello, you exist. No governmental body has to give me an existence certificate. Oh, thank God you exist. And if somebody asks you, like elections are coming, you're going to vote. Do you exist? Wait, let me look for my existence certificate and show you that I exist. No? I alone, the only entity that does not depend on anything else for its existence is you. Yeah. That is the only Sat. There is no other Sat. So wait, this is sounding good. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to sit up straight, in fact, to hear it. Yeah, but I have a question. Okay. I have a question. The question is, so if the only thing, I'm just repeating what you said, okay? The only thing that exists is you. That means what about this poor pot? Yeah. From pot to pot belly, so many things are there in the universe. How are we going to account for their existence? Have you been listening or what? What did I say? The only thing that is existence is Sat. That Sat is you. So that means table is me? Yes. Chair is also me? Yes. I'm sitting on myself? Yes. These are the logical, what should I say? The logical offshoots of what we are talking about. So there is nothing other than me? No. Creepy crawlies are also me? Yes. But why am I afraid of that? Because we need to have these classes more often. That's all. Until that doubt goes away. Until the vagueness goes away. Until the error goes away. Yeah. So now then the other question. Okay, one question you have answered. Okay, I will take it with a pinch of salt. Which you say is also me. Okay, fine. I will take it with a pinch of salt. Pending the understanding that Sat is me. Okay, fine. I am Sat. There is nothing other than me. So everything. So but what about all the bodies in the room? Everybody has a name. Everybody has a birth certificate, personality. And some people like me. Some people don't like me. What about all of them? They are also you. No, but that body is not me. If somebody gets a headache, I don't get a headache. Yeah. No, you don't get a headache because the head is not you. The existence is you. Now I'm getting a headache. Now you've really given me a headache. Yeah. Existence is you. That Atma, that's what I call I. And what you call I, what everyone calls I, that I alone is. That I expresses itself through many bodies, many minds, many creepy crawly bodies, many big tiger bodies, lion bodies, polar bear bodies, all kinds of bodies, all kinds of minds, all kinds of containers. Just as the space in this room is the same as the space in this pot, correct? Yeah? Is anybody having a doubt?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. So, the space in this pot space, let us call it pot space because we need to name things, okay? Yeah, otherwise we are not properly American. We need to name things. So, pot space is not separate from the room space. If the pot space doesn't know, if the pot is unenlightened and doesn't have Vedanta classes on a regular basis, it doesn't know what? That it need not break itself open in order to become one with the space, correct? So it will always be yearning, I want to become space, I want to become one with the space. Array Buddhu, you are already one with the space. Buddhu means is a diminutive word for little fool. Yeah, you are already one with the space. No, but this pot, this thing I have to break open, I need more elbow room. So when the pot realizes all there is Sat, all there is space, that space I am, then the body doesn't matter. The body of the pot is just a container. Then the pot can say, I'm glad I have a body. Otherwise, how will all of you learn about this very important topic? Yeah. So the body of a pot becomes what? Vibhuti, a glory. Yeah. The mind of the pot becomes what? Vibhuti, a glory. Even with the smallness, yes. One is happy being limited. Why? Because one knows that the limitations is not me. I am not what limits me. I am that which is unlimited, just like the space. I am that which accommodates everything. I am that which accommodates everything. I am that space alone which accommodates everything. Therefore what? There is nothing outside of me. If there is nothing outside of me, then I can be free enough to have a body, mind, sense complex that is limping, dragging, and being completely limited. In fact, I am free enough to have a few more problems. Yeah. Vedanta doesn't make you free of problems, It just makes you expanded enough to have a few more problems and uphold them without being affected by them. That is the beauty of it. Problems belong to that level of reality where things come and go. We are not worried about that which comes and goes. We are worried about that which is constant. So then we have another, question. This Sat which you supposedly say I am, this Sat which I am, is this sentient or insentient? Because everything is Sat, pot is Sat, I am Sat, cushion is Sat, carpet is Sat, tree is Sat, mountain is Sat. Is it conscious?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Because what are you? Conscious or unconscious? Huh? Conscious. Conscious. Now. All there is now. Yesterday's class. Yeah, we have to build upon. Yeah. Now, are you conscious? Yes. What are you conscious of? Myself and everything else. That is what consciousness is. So that Sat is conscious. Meaning, it's alive. What are you talking about? This pot is not alive. It is Sat. All right. Yes. It cannot express itself and say, stop, don't hold me in this precarious way, I may fall down. Why? Because it doesn't have a subtle body. It does not have a subtle body. It is Sat, all right, but it cannot say, hello, I am Sat. Look at this beautiful me which is Sat. What cannot say? The pot. Thank God. Because we need a few things in life that do not make demands on our daily time and existence. If you are eating with a utensil, if the spoon starts to get hungry and eat every bite, where are you going to go? Me first, the spoon says. So every bite of food you spoon it into the spoon and it disappears. When you are ready to put the spoon into the mouth, it burps. It says again, some more. And if the chair that you sit on says, what is this? All the time I'm the underdog. What is this? And if the pot starts to say, I have no job satisfaction. Once in a while you take me out, otherwise I'm in some, I'm in Faith's house. Yeah, in some dark corner somewhere. What is this? Yeah. So this is something, thank God there are certain things that cannot express that they are Sat. It doesn't mean that they are Sat. And it also doesn't mean that the Sat that we are talking about is insentient. Why is that negated? That is negated because You are standing there. You are existent. You know you are existent. And therefore, that Sat is conscious. And that conscious Sat goes by the name Jnanam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Jnanam. Yeah, it is a Mahavakya right there. What is a Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is a sentence in Vedanta. Oh, somebody says there is an echo. You know what? If there is an echo, please log out and log back again. I see you as logged on twice. That's why there is an echo. Yeah, no wonder. You are logged as Prema and Prema 2. So one of the Premas has got to go. And then along with that, so will the echo. Okay? Echo will go when Prema 2 will go. Okay? Yeah. So log out and log back again once. You are here, you are logged on twice. Did that make sense?
Goes against all the rules.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Can you hear me? I'll also type it. Okay, I think she got it. That Sat which is alive, which is whole, is called Jnanam. And it becomes a Mahavakya. A Mahavakya is that sentence which expresses the indivisibleness, the identity of oneself, Atma, with Brahman, with that which is whole. That is called a Mahavakya. And in this term, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, where is the Mahavakya? Jna. That Jna is common to me and common to that which is the cause of this universe, Ishvara. That sentience. Very beautiful. What does this Jna, Jnanam means? Jnanam comes from the word Jna, the root Jna, to know. In the sense of knowing, actually. Not even to know. That's an English way of putting it. In the sense of Jna, Jnane. In the sense of knowing. Again, when I talk about knowing, a knowing which is non-separate from being, I should add. So when I talk about knowing, there are again divisions immediately at hand. What are the divisions? Knower. Aha, I know everything. I am the knower. And this part, object of my knowledge, known. Not too important because I am the knower. See this division already? Yeah. And the process of knowing, the subject of knowledge, which is me, the object of knowledge, which is this part, and the process of knowing. How is the process of knowing? The pot appears. First as what? As a word, pot. What do you see in your head? Pot. So even before I show this, you have already imagined the pot. And that imagination, as it were, comes through the eyes and other means of knowledge, depending on whatever is appropriate to see. And then it captures the pot. As it were, the eyes go out and capture the pot and corroborate. The mind corroborates that it indeed is the pot. It is a pot. That is how the knowing takes place. The knowing of any object that is discrete in this universe takes place by objectification, correct? I have to see it as an object, or I have to hear it, like heavy metal music. When you hear it, you feel sick. Why? Because it is other than you. And then you attend the Vedanta class and you say everything is you, including heavy metal music, you feel sicker still. No, that's just a joke. That's just a joke. So basically, this, something you hear then you get that hearing, the ears go out and capture the sound and bring it back to that consciousness alone. That's how I know everything. By how? By splitting myself as the knower and splitting what is to be known as the known, subject, object, and the process of knowing. Those are three different things. So now the question is, when the word Jnanam is used, are we referring to the subject, Pramata, Jnata? Are we referring to the object, Jnanam? Or are we, referring to the process of knowing, Janati, knows? We are referring to that sentience which doesn't have these divisions. Yeah, which upholds the divisions between the knower and the known, but itself is free of those divisions. How? Just how you know you exist. When you say I am, is there a knower and a known? Who is the knower? I. Who is the known? I. What is the process of knowing? That existence itself, it's a being that is a knowing. It's a knowing that is a being. It's a knowing being and it's a being knowing. Yeah.
So there's two.
There is one. The being is knowing. The being is a sentient being. That's what it is. Sentient being. So the word Jnanam acts as a delimiter, as something that removes the, what's its name? Limitations of the word Sat. Yeah. How? How does it remove the limitations? Because whenever I see the word Sat, then I always have this, predilection or a certain kind of a pull to look at it as away from me, as outside of me. That is why when I ask the question, what is it that one knows and what is it that is without hanging on to anything else? Everybody said in unison what? Sat. Nobody said me. So that Sat, is always seen. There is always a doubt. Okay, exists. Okay, I also exist. But really, how do I know that I alone am? What is this I? Is it sentient? Is it insentient? All those limitations and those doubts are knocked off by Jnanam. Jna. That knowing which is sentient, that understanding, that sentience alone, which is not qualified by knower known knowledge. The sentience, which sometimes they call it pure sentience, we don't go there. Everything is pure anyway. There is nothing that's impure. Yeah. Like somewhere, there is in the Coimbatore ashram, there used to be a place where you could go drink water. And they had put a board, pure drinking water. Why pure? Drinking water is enough. It should be, drinkable. That's all. That's all one hopes that one is pure. It's taken for granted. Here also sentience, when you say pure sentience, the understanding is, or the doubt is, there is something called impure sentience, and then I have to distinguish it from what? Pure sentience. So we don't do all that. We don't use qualifiers when they are not necessary. That is why this pedagogy is a very, very decisive and a very intricate and a deliberate pedagogy of transmitting this knowledge. We don't use words that mystify. We don't use the word bliss. I know you've been wanting me to use it. I will refuse to use the word bliss. Yeah. Bliss means what? What bliss? Where bliss? And that too they will write with a capital B. Your existence, knowledge, bliss. Okay, now what? When am I going to eat my next samosa? That's the question. There is nothing else to ask. What shall I have with my tea? That's all you have to ask. Existence, knowledge, bliss. Without understanding, without really, it's not doing anything for me to be told that I am existent, knowledge and bliss, because before I was the desirer of samosas, I am still continuing to be the desirer of samosas. What did it do? Nothing. It didn't even make a samosa worth of difference. Yeah. So that is why the words are used carefully. So here what we are talking about is this knower known business, which is which is the way I know everything, is useless. The knower known dissection through which I know the world is useless when it comes to knowing myself. Yeah. It is completely useless. Why? Because that who is it that's wanting to know? Me. Who do I want to know about? Me. Kartra karma virodha. There is a contradiction between the doer and the object and the subject. The subject-object contradiction, how is it resolved? It is resolved in the wake of the understanding that that subject that you are talking about, cannot be objectified. Yeah, drigeva natu drishyate. This subject, which is sat, which is sentient, which is everything, which is the only thing that doesn't depend on anything else, cannot be seen as an object. Therefore, the Upanishad says sometimes it's beyond the mind. And that also another problem, beyond the mind. Oh, that means it cannot be known. It can be known, but it cannot be known in the same way as the pot is known. The pot is known as something separate from me. When I know myself, I know it as myself alone, as not different from me. And that is why the knowing is not so much I already know I exist. Nobody comes to Vedanta class to find out whether they exist or not. No. You come to find out what I am. That is what one comes to find out. That I am is not in doubt, thank God. That I am is self-evident. That I am is self-effulgent. That I am is self-existent. What I am is subject to all kinds of doubts, vagueness, wrong, errors. Like I said yesterday, I take myself to be what I am not. I don't take myself to be what I am. Therefore, what? Vedanta knocks off the vagueness, knocks off the mistakes that one makes and the conclusions, the wrong conclusions that one comes to about oneself. That is what it does. That's all that it needs to do. Knowledge is already there. Knowledge is you. Knowledge shines. That sentience is you. And that sentience, which I thought was limited to this body-mind-sense complex, the limitations are knocked away through the teaching, and all there is left is the same sentience, which is Jagat Karanam Brahma, which is Ishvara alone, which is that which is the creator of the universe, of this Jagat. That is when the limitations go away. It's not that the Vedanta pours, makes a hole in the head and pours some knowledge. Yeah, self-knowledge cocktail, here, take. No. Knowledge is you. Yeah, Jnanam. It's already there. That sentience is you alone. That sentience happens to be all-encompassing, happens to be without a second, happens to be unlimited by time, by space, by being an object in time and space. This is what is pointed out. Therefore, all other identifications, whether they are sahajaha, meaning natural, that one identifies with this body is natural because it started with birth. All identifications are falsified, as it were. So even though the identifications are there, I keep putting the I in a different place rather than in the same place of limitation that makes me go on the wheel of the hamster, like, oh, poor old me, oh me, oh me, oh no, this wheel of this, guilty, hurt, bothered by other people's omissions, bothered by other people's commissions, cannot live with my own commissions, cannot live with my own omissions, and the story goes on and on, life after life after life after life after life, so much so that I start wanting some respite in afterlife. Heaven, oh, let's go there, at least there, there is no death for a short time, okay? Yeah. Lord Yama The minion of death cannot go to heaven. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you don't deliver yourself to him afterwards. Because he's waiting at the gate, that's all. You can't go. When you come out, he catches. Finished. In the net. Yeah. So, so afterlife becomes wonderful because one is tired of this life. This life is what? Filled with, I can't stand myself. This is what it's filled with. Why? Not because I am not Sat and Jna, I am already Sat, but I do not know it. The separating factor between myself and the whole, myself and Ishvara, we'll see what Ishvara is tomorrow. Myself and Ishvara is what? Is ignorance, not time or space. It's ignorance. Yeah. If I didn't know this was pot, I have to ask my neighbor. Let's say I'm an alien from Mars, okay? 2 horns are here. So, what is this? What is she showing? And the other person says, no, it's called pot. So, pot ignorance is dismissed by pot knowledge, correct? Self-ignorance is dismissed by
self-knowledge.
Self-knowledge. That's all there is to it, nothing else. That is why one needs self-knowledge. With self-knowledge, one is fine. Yeah. Why? Because that is the only hope of knowing you are the whole. Otherwise, you cannot stumble on it. You cannot stumble on this knowledge. You cannot get this knowledge in passing. In passing, you may get, oh, perhaps I'm the whole. Why? Because I had this experience. Here we go again. I had this experience. You have to elongate that E, I had this experience of what? Of being non-dual. When? Oh, I don't know. I was looking at the moon and the sun and everything, setting sun, rising moon. It was so magical. I just thought I was the moon, I was the sun. It was wonderful. Then what happened? I came out of it. Then what happened? The sun was sun, moon was moon, I was I. Yeah, 5 foot 1 inch. That's all. So the experience, confirms what is already true, but it cannot stand in for the knowledge. Yeah. That is why one needs the knowledge. There is no other way of gaining the knowledge. That we will see tomorrow. And what this knowledge is about, we will see also tomorrow. I will chant the closing prayer and open it up for questions both here and online. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Questions? Any questions, doubts, fears, worries? What ifs? What if nots?
So let me ask just a simple
Okay.
fear.
Okay.
Lion, tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all Sat, but you nevertheless should run away.
Absolutely, you should run away. Why? Because I'll tell you why. The question is this: lion is Sat, tiger is Sat. When the Jnani, the knowledgeable person, is confronted with the tiger and the lion, and when the non-knowledgeable person is confronted with the tiger, Ajnani, the non-knowledgeable person is confronted with the tiger and the lion, who runs away faster? Not who runs away, who runs and who doesn't. Who runs away first? The Jnani, the knowledgeable person. Why? Because we are talking of realities. Yeah. There are certain things that you don't, and perhaps the knowledgeable person will not also run away, and that is okay too. Yeah. But we live in a reality that is, where the limitless has certain shapes, forms, boundaries. So we live in a reality which is a transactional reality. And in this transactional reality, there are many, many things. Yeah. So it could be, supposing you cannot run and you are a knowledgeable person, you have Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge. You will just say, okay, this is Ishvara's will, I can sacrifice myself to the lion, it's okay, one lion less in the world. As as you think this thought, and you will cry and scream, and but still, there is a certain kind of a sense of acceptance. But to survive, one is practical. Vedanta is a knowledge of practicalities. Yeah. Practical knowledge. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
If Sat's the host and I guess your animal side is the guest, how long does he put up with it?
That's the thing. There is no long, because all long is measured in terms of past, present, and future and time. What we are talking about is the author of time. The Sat invents time. The Sat constructs the time. The Sat even puts up with the division of time. Okay? Yeah. So Sat is, before the division of time is, Sat is. Yeah. Okay, and here is, I'll come back to that. There is a question online also. I will answer this and then come to your question. So Sat means, Sat alone is. Out of this time comes, out of this place comes. It's like the whole, what is Big Bang. That there was something that was there, and out of that even time and place is a construct. So you cannot say how long it took for Sat to come. That which doesn't come is Sat. That which upheld the comings and the goings, that which will always be there for you is Sat alone. Yeah, nobody else will be there for you, but Sat will be there for you. Why? It is you. So how long predicates, predicates is predicated by being not able to get out of the time-space matrix.
I would see that we are confined to the time-space metric.
No, I wouldn't say. I would say you are not confined.
Sat was.
No, you are also not confined. The only way the only way one will be limitless is to know that Sat and you are one and the same. When you say we are confined by the body time-space matrix, I will ask which we? Yeah. The I that identifies with the body is called the ego, ahankara. And it mistakenly identifies with the body. It has to be, pumped up with knowledge. It has to be pumped up with the air so that it has inner space, it expands, it bloats up more and more to accommodate a few more galaxies within its heart.
This is our guest that will never leave.
Pardon me?
Is the ego our guest?
No. They see that was just it was a metaphor. Yeah.
There is no guest.
Yeah. There is no guest. Ultimately, the news, you wake up to the news that the guest and host is just one reality. There is no guest, no pest. It's just you. Yeah. You are that Sat, which is whole, which is wonderful, which is beautiful, which is without a second. Yeah. So all those distinctions are just so that one has to start at a certain place. If I start saying everything is you and you are that, everybody will be sleeping. In fact, that's what happened yesterday. So that's why I have to sort of, say that, yes, there is a guest, there is a host, there is a party going on and all these things. But really, the guest becomes the host. You think it, you think of it, okay, what never leaves, like an unwanted guest. It was a metaphor. So the unwanted guest becomes the host. Why? Because you find out that you, this limited I that is conditioned by the body, mind, sense complex, Desha, Kala, Parichinna Atma, this Atma that is conditioned by the body, mind, sense complex, the time bound I, the place bound I, is what comes and goes. And that is an ignorant person's point of view. It's ignorance that talks and says, I come and go, right? But if one is Sat, there is no coming and going. So one identifies as the host, because all there is the host. The host sometimes says, oh, it's so boring, let's have a party and invite a few guests, and it just multiplies. That's all it does. Yeah, that is how the cosmology is. So here is a question from Shobha. If I see a body of a dead cat, has Sat left it? No, Sat has not left it. Is there existence in it? Yes. Why? Because you can tell me body of dead cat is Sat. But yes, you're right, something has left it. Chit has left it. Sentience has departed from the cat. That's why it's a body of a cat. Yeah. Sat is. Why? Because you say dead body is. Absence of life is. And that is Sat. Okay? Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
So, when we're walking down the street, and
When I'm repeating it for the online students, okay? When you're walking down the street, okay?
and you keep having all these thoughts and feelings that are associated with the sense of ignorance that you
Identified with a body.
right?
Okay.
How do we best?
That's a very good question. When you're walking on the street, when you're eating, when you're drinking, when you're talking to your friend, when you're just sitting staring at the ceiling, whatever you're doing, generally what kind of thoughts come? Oh, what do I have to do next? Oh, I didn't do this properly. So it's always of the future or of the past. So how does one know that one is Sat Chit, one is Sat Jnanam, Satyam and Jnanam? How does one know? One has to bring that awareness, which is you. That I am. It's always there. I. Aham iti sakshat spurate. I. That Sat which does not shut up. That Sat which doesn't shut up. Because it keeps saying I am. In fact, that's the drone, Like sometimes you have for accompaniment of music, a little string drone, in India we call it Tanpura, that constant bass which is there. I am. You go back to listening to that drone. All the other instruments you forget for the time being. Go back to that I. Oh, look how silly I am being, it will say. Okay, so that is called the witness position, sakshitvam, the witness state. Go back to being the witness and allow yourself to come back to being the witness. Oh, but I forget so many times. Go back. If you forget, it's okay. That is also Sat only forgetting. Yeah. Go back to being the witness. So you go back to being the witness, being the witness, being the witness. So I am not the sufferer, I am the witness of the suffering. I am not the limited person, I am the witness of feelings of limitation. I am not, hungry, I am not hunger itself. I am the witness of the fact that I am hungry. So then you can do whatever you need to. If you can change something, you change, you make yourself more comfortable, more everything, but you continue to be, not affected by things that you cannot change. Yeah. Good question. That becomes a meditation when you keep going back to that witness situation. Yeah. Okay? All right. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay. So tomorrow, same place, same time.